have you been seeing that these like what is it called? These media outlets have been coming out with Fast 9
These
reviews?
social networks.
The social networks.
Yes.
For media.
For Jesse Eisenberg, yeah.
No.
Oh.
Why Jesse Eisenberg?
When I say social network, automatically Jesse Eisenberg comes in.
Automatically,
Yeah.
he comes in your head.
Then I picture Andrew Garfield storming at me, yelling, "Mark, Mark, Mark!"
You know, that's one of the. I think that's the only David Fincher film I haven't seen.
You
Social
haven't
Network.
seen?
I have not seen.
You haven't seen Social Network?
No, and I
Dude,
have to.
you are okay. No. That is a great movie.
It is. I've heard.
I don't care about this right here.
I look. I'll put it this way. I've been told by several people that I need to watch it. It's
I
just,
think you would like it.
No, of course.
As a film person, like, because you are, you would say that you're a film aficionado, right? You would consider yourself one.
Yes and no. Like,
yes and no? Why?
Yes and no. No, because I haven't seen a lot of major films that people consider to be like up there.
What, like Citizen Kane or something?
I've seen parts of Citizen Kane.
Same here.
Yeah. So like,
but I
things
still
like
consider
that.
myself a film
Okay, I barely
fan.
watched The Goonies this year.
That's true, but
yeah. So
there's still a lot of people that haven't seen a lot of movies that consider themselves film aficionados.
I'm attracted to certain film, and so like for me, there's certain things that I just end up missing out just because. I don't find the time to do so and stuff like that. But David Fincher's like one of those directors that like has always caught my eye. Mm-hmm. So yes, I have to watch his film. I have to watch his stuff. Like Girl with a Dragon Tattoo is like one of his things that I'm just like, whoa.
That's the one I haven't seen.
Oh,
but I've seen the original Girl with the Dragon Tattoo.
The original one.
Yeah, the one that's like in I forgot. It's like a Spain or something like that.
Yeah. So it's kind of weird because when I look at I like I said, I'm not a film connoisseur, but I love to research film.
Yeah.
So
same
like
here.
the easiest way to explain it is like I can tell you the certain gimmicks of certain directors.
Yeah.
Like, James Cameron, when you like my fiance always jokes, like every time I mention James Cameron, she goes like, James Cameron.
What the
and I'm
heck?
like, why? And like I know why. It's because James Cameron was like, he's the big director. He's like the big film dude.
He's all right. I think since after Avatar, I'm just kind of like over him now.
But think of his films. Like when you think of
great.
James Cameron. Like if I say James Cameron, what do you think of?
True Crimes. Oh no, True Lies. Sorry.
Really? That's
True
the
Lies.
first film you think of?
That's that has Arnold and Jamie Lee Curtis.
What
and
about
Jamie Lee Curtis is doing a striptease in that film. And she looks bomb.
That's the only reason.
Yes. Not to mention that's the most expensive movie made during that time as well too.
I was gonna say Titanic.
No, that's too simple. No, because everyone chooses Titanic. True Lies for me. No. Because you have, again, Jamie Lee Curtis in black lingerie at her peak. Not even like, damn. Have you seen True Lies?
No.
Oh my God, Brian! You have to watch that. It's even like but also too. That's just like a fun movie in general. That's like a really good Arnold movie.
But it's like, okay, because I'm trying to get you.
And you have Tim Arnold too. That's just super fun.
I'm not doubting that. What I'm saying is like to me it's funny because I'm like trying to get into like like what it could be like. What could be the director's like big great movies that you think of?
Well, that movie also is a milestone in his cinematography because
James
or in
Cameron,
his director seat thing because he put so much money into that movie.
Yes.
But the thing is that the studio didn't make their money back up, man.
That's fine.
Yeah.
But like what I'm saying is that
it's like
the
James, water world in
like
his
James Cameron does not release a movie without it being like a big movie.
Yeah, that's the thing.
That's what I'm saying.
He's all about big productions.
Yeah.
Using the latest, stuff. Hold on, I have a message right now.
So like
Titanic is Passion of the Christ with a boat. We know what happens.
Like I'll put it this way. It's like when it comes to like James Cameron.
Sorry, that just hit me right now. I was putting. It was like the gears were going in my head. I'm like, okay, I said that, and then I just registered what that said.
It's just like there's certain things that like you say it out loud afterwards, and you're just kind of like, oh. No, but what I'm saying is this: it's like, like when you think of certain directors, like certain films comes out, and James Cameron, like there's not just one. I think everyone resonates with something like, because you said what True Lies. True Lies is yours. Like Titanic for me.
Actually, yeah.
Some people will say Alien. Some people will say Avatar.
Oh, I forgot. Yeah, that's right. He did do Aliens.
He did Aliens.
He did Aliens. That was weird. Yeah, because Aliens is like a complete different genre of a film,
but it's still massive.
No,
like, think of from like Alien to Aliens.
If you think of the fan base, yeah, like a lot of people gravitate towards Aliens more.
It's because the production on that one was much bigger.
It was really good. Because
it's grand.
That's the thing. He's not using one alien. He's using multiple aliens
and the entire species that goes with it. Edgar Wright was the guy that was working with what's his name, Simon Pegg, for like the longest time with that trilogy of like Hot Fuzz and At World's End and Shaun of the Dead, things like that.
Yeah.
Then he moves on to like Baby Driver and Scott Pilgrim.
Yeah.
And now he's doing that other one, Last Night at Soho. That film, So like he's like, you have those films that resonate. And David Fincher, the way I resonate with him is that a lot of his movies end up being the way I like to explain it is that David Fincher films are always, you start at point A, you go to B, but your destination is not to end at point B, it's actually point C. The films make you think that it's from A to B when it's actually from A to C. And I think Girl with the Dragon Tattoo is probably like one of the best examples of that. Even Fight Club kind of does that with like, it makes you think that the ending is a certain way, but it goes further and there's a point C.
I've noticed that he does a lot of, like when you see a David Fincher film, the way it's shot and everything, that's the same way he shoots all of his movies.
Not the same way, but it's the same.
It's the same like contrast
outline.
And like contrast. I think it's like kind of like that murky kind of like vibe.
Yeah,
very dark.
Christopher Nolan. I'm gonna mention him. Yes, I
here
always
we go.
mention him. There we go.
It's not a Keeping Up with the Nerds episode unless Brian brings up Nolan.
Why are you going to bring Christopher Nolan into this, Brian? Let me tell you. How do you explain a Christopher Nolan film?
You know what I want? I want our listeners to look back on our episodes and count how many times you mentioned Christopher, because I know it wasn't every episode, but it's been like every other episode.
It's like every other couple, right?
Yeah.
So look, okay, let's get to the point. How does Christopher Nolan go about his films? The easiest way to explain how he goes about his films is that he makes you want to feel smart.
Yeah.
But you're not. Like, I'm sorry, but as like a viewer, you're not smart if you have to think about a Christopher Nolan film.
He's giving us the benefit of the doubt that his viewers are smart, but really we're not.
No, I'm not saying that the viewers aren't smart. I'm just saying that.
No, I'm saying we're not.
Okay, no. Look. Okay, like, have you seen Tenet yet or not?
I still haven't.
Oh,
because you told me
to.
Like people tell me like it's not that great of a film.
It's not, but it's like it's the expose of Christopher Nolan.
It's on HBO Max too and stuff.
Yeah. It's how to expose Christopher Nolan for the type of person he is. Like, look, I don't hate him, but I also
don't want to say you hate him.
No, I don't hate him. Look, if I were to meet him, I'm gonna like, I'd straight up tell him, like, I'd be like, look, I don't hate you, and I do not like you, but it's more like, I just don't agree with the style that you move forward with.
Yeah.
Like Inception is probably one of the better movies to explain my reasonings as to it. I don't need you to explain to me a film where I have to create my own ending.
Yeah.
Just tell me what the ending means.
Yeah.
I think we're really trying to drag this introduction on.
I forgot we are still in the intro.
Yeah, we have to start.
If you guys don't know, we are celebrating.
We are
celebrating our 0 year of Keeping Up with the Nerds, of nonstop posting. We haven't taken a break at all. We've always made sure we put out an episode, and this is our final issue of 0 year.
Yes,
as Brian likes to say.
Year zero.
Yeah.
Year zero.
Year zero.
So we're celebrating.
Yes.
If you haven't figured it out already,
we're more rambling on than we're usually, because we are taking in some adult drinks right now.
Yes. That's probably the best way to put it, but
but we're still manageable. We have one person here that's making sure we're good.
We're
No, he's not. He's literally just like, I'm just gonna let these guys go.
So there's a lot to celebrate.
Like right now, my face feels numb.
Oh, my nose feels numb. I always start at the nose and then go all the way. But no, there's a reason to celebrate.
Can't feel that.
No.
Nothing.
Can I get serious with you for a second?
Okay, I'm sorry.
Gosh, let me get serious for a second.
Let's get serious. Okay, let's do it. I'm serious.
No, but for reals,
Okay,
it's
yeah.
like, we're celebrating the end of year 0. We just wrapped up issue 49 last week.
Mm-hmm.
And everything has worked out for us in a way that's just just so great.
That's the thing. Yes. When starting this podcast, I honestly didn't know where this was going to go. I know that it was a podcast that I wanted to do with you, though, because it started out with you. If you guys don't know, I think we may have mentioned this, but we didn't really dwell more into it. Like before we did this podcast, Brian would always come in. He's a customer at the store, and I work here, obviously. Brian would always come in, and we would just have these hour conversations.
Yeah, about an hour.
Yeah, about an hour until his girlfriend at the time, the girlfriend
who's not my fiance,
was not his fiance yet, but it was his girlfriend at the time. Was basically call him and be like, "Where are you?" He's like, "I'm at the store. I'm talking to Rene and stuff." And we would literally look at the time and be like, "Oh yeah, he came in at 3. It's already 5:30."
Yeah. No, we would spend time talking. And
but
stuff.
It wouldn't be just stupid stuff. We would actually dwell more into either what got announced or what got what's coming out and stuff like that, what we're expecting, or what our thoughts on certain things as well too.
The easiest way to explain was whatever was in our gut that we just needed to let out.
Yeah.
We would just talk about. So there's a lot to celebrate because this started out as a
but we knew each
as
other
an idea.
before that. You used to do
For years.
Yeah, you used to do a podcast before that I was actually part of as well too. It was Tales from the Soundboard the first time around. Then it got changed into Casualties as well too, and then it was just basically that ended for certain reasons and stuff like that. You were doing your own thing.
Yeah.
And you needed to focus on that. And then I was doing my own podcast. I was doing a lot. I was doing a podcast for the store, and then I was doing a podcast of my own called Nerd It Down, and then I had a falling out from that as well too. So we both experienced the same thing. We tried to do our own brand separately.
Yeah.
And it didn't really work out.
There's a lot to talk about.
There is, but we don't need to get into that.
Not yet.
Not yet.
So once we do the intro for one final time
of this year. Yeah.
I'll put it this way. There's a lot to be planned out for year 1.
Definitely.
There's a lot.
We're literally talking about new content that we're going to be putting out
Yeah.
soon, which is really exciting.
And we're going to discuss it more in this issue as we go on. We do want to get rid of some stuff first because some Spider-Man news has come out.
Yes.
But what we did want to do with this issue was we wanted to kind of bring it back to the old school times of just Rene and I.
Yes, how it started.
Yeah, how it started to end out year 0.
I was actually listening to our early issues before this as well.
Isn't it weird?
It was weird because when you and I were talking, it was basically almost the same thing, but we tried to stay on topic where basically we kind of we had an outline where it started out okay, we're gonna talk about this and this, because you always had an outline for each episode,
and then we kind of
you stopped that by I think issue 10, because we were just let's because we found out our listeners like it when we just kind of ramble on.
Yeah. So for one last time, guys, let's go ahead and do this intro, and I'll explain why it's the final time that we're going to do this intro afterwards, because there is a lot to talk about, and this is going to be a shorter podcast, I believe, just because, we do, it is an annual issue. It's not labeled as a current, ongoing issue.
It's not an issue.
It's not an issue. It's an annual issue. Just to wrap it up, so that way when we start year 1, it lands on issue 50, which is great. So let's go ahead and for one last time, guys, let's go ahead and do this intro. Are we ready?
Yes, you're doing the intros.
Yes, let's do it.
Are you ready?
I'm ready.
Okay,
here we go.
Let's do it.
Hello, citizens! Welcome to Keeping Up with the Nerds Variety Hour, coming from 12920 Philadelphia Street, Whittier, California. Aiming to be Whittier's #1 podcast for all things nerdy. I'm your host, Bryan
Rene.
And welcome to the show, annual number 3.
Oh, wow. This is our annual number 3. Dang.
Yes. Wow. And to think about it, once we start year 1, we go back to annual number 1. We have to. Because this is basically
a reboot.
Revamp. Yeah,
it's a reboot/revamp. Relaunch.
Yes.
It's a relaunch. I say relaunch.
So we, as Rene mentioned before, we are consuming some adult beverages as we record. But cheers, first of all. Cheers. So
I finished that drink, actually.
Did you really? Wow. All right, fine.
That one.
I brought some Santori whiskey because it's a really good whiskey to drink.
It was actually really, I think that's why I drank that one.
Yeah, so cheers.
Cheers.
Cheers to wrapping up year zero.
Year zero.
I don't know why I keep saying Euro.
Euro.
Year zero.
Yeah.
You know, to new beginnings, to future success, to a
Yes.
lot of things, and we'll discuss it more. We're gonna get rid of some stuff first, and then we'll talk about what we have planned.
Yeah,
but
definitely.
Yeah. Cheers, guys.
Cheers. Bryan likes to talk when he's drunk.
I'm not drunk. I'm just a little bit buzzed.
I don't think he likes to talk. He likes to talk when he's buzzed.
So before we begin talking
Yeah.
about like future plans, about what we have in store for the brand and stuff like that, let's go ahead and just do some nerdy talk real quick.
Nerd talk.
Nerdy talk like the old times, you know.
Yeah.
Spider-Man.
As
not?
as a usual, we've had like three issues like supported by Spider. So what's different about this one?
What
Why
could
not?
possibly be new about this?
Well,
this time?
the first thing was something that I posted yesterday.
Yes,
It was about who was cast as Kraven the Hunter.
Aaron Johnson.
Aaron Johnson coming back to Marvel.
It's so weird because I was now that you bring that up, like
Yeah.
it hit me again because I'm reminded of it.
because you were talking about it on the group chat. Yeah.
So it was weird because I was going through TikTok last night where someone mentioned that Aaron Johnson is basically casted as like two different people.
Yeah,
he was
the
MCU.
Yeah, he was Pedro,
who was the
Quicksilver of Age of Ultron. He was in Age of Ultron.
yeah.
That no one apparently liked.
Yeah.
I liked it.
It was good. I mean, there's
Screw you
not
guys
one
that didn't
besides
like it.
Dark World.
I
that
got
was
super.
like,
You know
whatever.
what? I'm gonna ramble on right here. I got super annoyed when people said that they didn't like Age of Ultron. Wow, and they didn't like Age of Ultron. Honestly, because that's still a really good movie. I see its critiques about it, but it's not the worst like Avengers movie.
Yeah, I don't think it was that bad.
No.
But no, Aaron Johnson is he's now going to be playing Kraven the Hunter in the Sony produced movie for
Which is
Kraven the Hunter.
Really interesting.
So I think in one of the earlier issues is like maybe issue 44. I think
Yeah.
is what we were talking about, is where I was saying that Kraven the Hunter could possibly be a character that could be cast in the MCU. But I think people are kind of quickly assuming that the Sony universe of superheroes and
Yeah.
villains is going to connect to the MCU.
Yeah.
But I don't think that's going to be a thing. I think that Sony's trying to develop its own thing, its own universe of villains and stuff.
That's the thing, is that Kraven the Hunter, this whole casting Kraven the Hunter in this solo movie is going to happen after, was it Spider-Man No Way Home, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I don't think it's going to take place in the same universe.
Yeah.
And I think people are assuming that like too quickly. So that's like one piece of news.
Yeah.
There's another piece of news, and we'll get to that in a bit. But to me, it's just kind of like weird to think about how Aaron Johnson is going to be playing Kraven the Hunter when he was playing Pietro, and somehow they're trying to mix universes in together when they already brought what's his face's name from you played Quicksilver in the X-Men movies.
Even Evan Peters.
And now he's in the MCU as
From
like
American
Wanda's
Horror Story.
brother. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like a weird mix. And so like it's somehow not mixing together. And I think fans are quick to assume that this is all going to connect super easily.
You know what? It's funny. I don't want to, because, sorry, I'm really, God, it hit me. I love whenever Marvel news comes out about certain things, because you have these like really, really into the Marvel Cinematic Universe fans that just want to connect everything. That just want to just like, oh yeah, and like remember when WandaVision came out? You were the ones that you actually bought into. Yeah, you got sunk into it by the whole Mephisto thing. Yeah. like there would be like that red swan, and then when it like red dust or smoke came out, they're like Mephisto. And then now it's become like a meme. It's become a meme where it's like you see like the letter M. It's like, it's Mephisto, guys. It's Mephisto.
No, that's the thing, is that I think it's like WandaVision, I think was in part of it.
Yeah.
Where it like kind of brought about this kind of like new age of Marvel fans that are just quick to assume that things are going to connect.
I mean, I don't blame them when it comes to, at least with Evan Peters, when it comes to WandaVision, because you have a direct character from X-Men into the Marvel Cinematic Universe now.
Yeah.
And, you know, we thought that was their way of bringing in X-Men characters, but it ended up not. It just ended up being like Evan Peters was playing.
It still happened.
An actor.
No. It'll still. Happen.
You're still
I'm
going to say. I mean, I'm not saying that it's not like the X-Men is going to be into But I'm saying that it's not going to start with Evan Peters' character.
No, it won't. But I think that there's some sort of connection.
Well, because Kevin Feige freaking has a plan for everything. He's like, oh yeah, blah 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 blah. Like, I'm gonna introduce the X-Men in the Mutants movie. I'm like, whatever, dude.
Let me put it this way:
just wear your hat and
production to me, even on a professional level, kind of feels like these writers literally wake up one morning and just kind of like go about their business, and then they just sit at a table and be like, well, what if we did this? Like, even if they didn't cast Evan Peters to be connected to the MCU the way it's supposed to be, I think that down the line, after fans were kind of like, you know, realizing and going like, oh yeah, sure, no, totally, let's go ahead and like, you know, make him the Quicksilver. We're just going to disguise him as an actor. There's probably like an idea that was written down at the writer's table like halfway through the process. You know what I mean? So Aaron Johnson as Kraven the Hunter is an interesting idea. One,
it is.
I love Kraven the Hunter. I think that Kraven the Hunter, not only because he killed Spider-Man in one of the comic books, but the idea of a hunter that's always looking for the next prey, like the next trophy,
which is really
a cool villain.
Yeah, it's interesting because I want to see how they're going to do that with, you know, without this movie having Spider-Man in it. Like, how are they going to do that?
They have to, like, that's the thing.
No,
is like,
that's what everyone thought.
No.
They thought that about Venom.
Because you can get away with it.
Venom.
But all right, Slim Shady, relax. So, no. They need to have some sort of reference to Spider-Man here because...
Again, they thought that of Venom, though.
No,
there was no Spider-Man connection in Venom.
As someone that works in the comic book store, okay? Yes. Has there been any interest?
Have I been disappointed by comic book movies? Yes.
Yes. Okay, so that answers that.
Venom was one.
But what I'm saying is, like, have there been any releases where they've focused on Kraven the Hunter? Because Venom has had...
okay.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I see what you're trying to do, and I'm not going to bite into that.
I'm not gonna
play your mind games.
I'm not buying what you're selling, Brian.
No, I mean, I do see what you mean, that, like, with at least Kraven as a character, Spider-Man always had to be referenced. But the thing is, my counter argument to that is that, look at Venom then. Venom is a character that's strictly origin from Spider-Man.
But how much has
and look what
grown?
They did.
Exactly.
No. Look what they did about Venom. They completely like rewrit the whole script of like, oh yeah, it's a friggin' they found these little symbiotes that crashed down to Earth and stuff like that.
Okay, fine. I'll bite into what you're selling. I'll bite into that. Because you're right.
Sony has gone through lengths to try to write out Spider-Man in their Spider-Man property movies.
I'll bite into that.
Yeah.
Because they do have about 2 years to kind of like flesh out some stuff in the comic books.
Okay. So by the time that at least Spider-Man No Way From Home comes out, if they don't mention
Far
Kraven, Far From Home. Is it Far From? No. No Way Home.
No Way Home. You're right.
I was right. Yes.
What you say about me?
I'm gonna flex my Spider-Man knowledge.
You think you're Brian, the Spider?
Guys. Oh, this is a fun podcast.
Because you're gone already.
I'm gone. No. I completely forgot what I was gonna say.
No. Okay, let me retract what I said. So basically, you are right in the sense that it's like, you know, they do have about a year and a half.
Say that again.
That you are right in a sense.
Okay. Can we
I
want that as a ringtone.
No. That you are right in a sense because they can essentially like build Kraven the Hunter comics for
without
Sony.
Spider-Man.
Without Spider-Man.
Yeah, okay.
They can do that.
It's a possibility.
It's a possibility because you're right. Look what they did to Venom, right?
Yeah.
But how well can they do it that it'll sell?
That's
because
true.
Venom built upon itself, and it had about maybe a year and a half to 2 years of comic book lore to give it time to kind of build on that. Like Agent Venom was one of those like comic books that like took its time to sell to its audiences. Mm-hmm. Like we had to kind of believe in the fact that Flash Thompson was going to work as Agent Venom.
That's true.
And it did, right?
It did.
It did. So then how does Kraven the Hunter work on its own? Like how can you do that?
I think, I mean, it looks like, excuse me, sorry. It looks like they're kind of doing that for at least Morbius in a way.
Yeah, but
at
Morbius
least his
can
origin,
work on his
but
own.
that's the thing. He has the potential to be his own little origin and then just runs into Spider-Man.
Yeah, exactly. So it's
they
like
could do the same thing for Kraven because Kraven's origin could work without Spider-Man. you know. But when it comes to, and then also to an extent, but then at the same time, he runs into Spider-Man after he becomes Kraven, obviously.
Yes.
Because he hears that Spider-Man is like, no one can catch him.
No one can kill him. No one can catch him.
Yeah, and he's been established for years. And stuff
this
like
is
that.
why I love Kraven the Hunter. Oh my god.
Well, it's
like
funny.
I feel like everyone, like people will always bag on me for Spider-Man. I don't care, but like the villains that come out of him are just so great. Like Kraven the Hunter is just so fantastic. I'll be there to watch his movie.
Oh no, like you said, the first reason is because you like Kraven the Hunter. The second reason for me is because I like Aaron Johnson.
Okay.
I like him as an actor. He's really good. I loved him as Kick-Ass. I loved him in Quicksilver as well too. He's also done other like British films that I've seen and I really like. He also plays a bad guy really well. There's a movie that he did called Chat Room. That's actually really interesting. He plays like a guy that he starts this like random chat room and tries to convince a depressed person to kill themselves. That's his end game. Like that's what he wants to do. And it's really good. Check it out. Chat room. And it's really interesting because it's one of those really messed up British films. Like
British film.
Yeah, like the UK loves to put out messed up stories. And I love it. Because it's something that like a normal American audiences would be like, oh no, and I'm like, I'm all for
Black Mirror.
See,
there you go.
I love Black. Don't get me started on Black Mirror because I hate that Netflix bought Black Mirror, and they're essentially putting out some of the stories that end up in happy endings, and I'm like, no,
it's
like
the British version of Twilight Zone.
Yeah, because the whole premise of Black Mirror is that they have to have those messed up endings and stuff.
Yeah,
and one of the things I don't like, one of the episodes I don't like, which is actually an episode that everyone loves, is San Juan Shapiro or something like that. It had to be what's going on?
Like, don't even worry about it.
Is it about me? I feel like it's about me.
It's not about
I'm
you.
not paranoid right now.
You're seeing things.
I'm seeing things. But is San Juan Shapiro? Have you seen that episode of Black Mirror where it's like this lady that?
I'll be honest. I saw like 2-3 episodes of Black Mirror, and then I couldn't take it anymore because of that whole British Prime Minister having to have sex with a pig.
That's the best episode.
It's such a good episode, but that literally got me.
It shows the standards of Black Mirror right away in that first episode. Like this is it.
No, there's nothing. I'm not criticizing it. I just think that it's like it was too hard hitting for me that I was like, whoa, this is like something I wasn't ready for.
I will say this is that the show was really good, and then when Netflix bought out the studio, I guess they put out Black Mirror or something like that. When they bought Black Mirror, they started having like episodes that had better endings for the protagonists, where it's like, no, that's not how Black Mirror is. Black Mirror always has like, they always go through something in the story and then it never works out in their favor.
Supposed to be a mental game.
It's supposed to show like how we deal with technology and stuff like that, and how we go and how we abuse it, or how we take it for granted, or how we basically rely on it.
If you guys haven't seen Black Mirror, because we're going to go back to Spider-Man in a bit. We're going to
Sorry, yeah.
No, you're good. If you haven't seen Black Mirror, it isn't for the faint of heart, but it is a show that is really well done, and it's like it's the modern version of Twilight Zone. If Twilight Zone was done unhinged, is probably the best way I can explain it. Because old Twilight episodes were pretty harsh.
Yeah.
I think one of the harshest ones personally that I've seen is the when I forget what his what he was related to, but he goes and visits an old what is it called? World War II encampment, the House of the Jews.
Yes.
An encampment.
Yeah.
That one doesn't end well as well. And I think that's probably
I will say this. The best episodes of Twilight Zone are the ones that basically never work out for the protagonist at the end.
The man that keeps seeing a monster at the wing of the plane.
Yes.
Yeah.
It never works out for him because
Never.
he gets the plane lands, but then everyone thinks that he's crazy and stuff like that.
But he wasn't, or was he?
We
never know.
The other best episode was when basically, remember that guy lives throughout the end of the world, and he's like, he has glasses, and he's like, oh, now he can read every book. But then at the end, his glasses break.
Yeah.
And he can't read every book.
Yeah.
Those are the best episodes.
No, I grew up on Twilight Zone. I think I've seen
here.
almost every episode, and I'm just like, I fall in love with it.
Did you ever watch like the Twilight Zone marathon when it happened like like on
With my dad.
January. No, but like also in January they always have like a New Year's Eve Twilight Zone marathon on Sci-Fi. I think.
With my dad.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
I would do the same thing with my dad.
He was the like a Twilight Zone fanatic. He loved it.
So good.
To get back on topic,
Yes,
because we
sorry.
do have a lot more to talk about.
Yes,
the
we
brand.
might have to stretch out this episode.
It's fine. No. I mean, it's short, but
Yeah.
it's whatever. It's supposed to be us two, anyways.
Spider-Man.
Spider-Man. Going about it again. They did also mention that it's slightly confirmed that the Sinister Six is going to be in this new film, this new Spider-Man movie.
Yeah.
And what they're trying to say is that essentially the Sinister Six are going to be comprised of villains from the Spider-Man universe from different dimensions. So we're going to get the Green Goblin from Sam Raimi's Spider-Man.
Yeah.
We're also going to get the Electro from the Amazing Spider-Man universe, Sandman from Spider-Man 3, Mysterio from the new Spider-Man movies. Like, it's going to be it's going to be comprised of all these villains from different multiverses.
So from what I've seen from Sony is that whenever Sony decides to have plans for a future Spider-Man movie, because this is something that I've noticed about Sony, is that when Spider-Man 3 came out, they did everything they wanted, but I remember when the ideas for Spider-Man 4 with Tobey Maguire and Sam Raimi were originally supposed to be, they were supposed to have Lizard and Mysterio in it. But obviously those movies the Sam Raimi left, or they stopped doing the Sam Raimi trilogy, the Sam Raimi Spider-Man films. But then they rebooted it in Amazing Spider-Man. And guess what the next villain was in Amazing Spider-Man?
Rhino.
No, it was Lizard.
Was it Lizard?
Yeah. The first Amazing Spider-Man. The main villain was Lizard.
Oh, no, you're right.
But Lizard was the original thought into Spider-Man 4.
You're talking about from 3 to the Amazing Spider-Man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And guess what? When they rebooted the Spider-Man franchise after Amazing Spider-Man, the original thought for Spider-Man, or at least Amazing Spider-Man 3 was Vulture. That was the next villain. And then that carried on into Spider-Man Homecoming.
I think that Spider-Man's such a weird character to just kind of look at film-wise, because
that's the thing.
They want to carry on his story. Like, unlike Batman, for example, where you can have a multiverse that exists with him.
Yeah.
I feel like creating like a Batman multiverse is much more comforting than creating a Spider-Man multiverse. Because, and I'll put it this way, a Spider-Man multiverse wasn't introduced until, like, it was slightly introduced in the 90s with the animation with Madam Web and stuff like that. But it wasn't until, what's his name? I hate this guy because of Superior Spider-Man.
Dan Slott.
Thank you.
He blanked down his name. I forgot the name of the guy that I hate most with a passion.
I love him, but I hate him. Dan Slott.
Dan Slott.
His creation of the Spider-Verse and bringing about.
I remember every week.
Oh yeah, because I was pissed off that they killed off.
Just talk about Dan Slott and how much you
because he killed off Peter Parker in one of the worst ways possible.
If you want to sell books, you gotta be edgy.
Yes, and he did that. So here's the thing. He sold me with his concept.
Yeah.
And I bought into it. I'm not going to lie. I have every issue of Superior Spider-Man at home. I do. I do too. I enjoy him. I love it. I love Superior Spider-Man.
Okay, Superior Spider-Man was actually I have to say, it was a really good run. It was interesting. It was different because you have Doc Ock. Brian's giving me like this, like, oh, Rene, what are you doing? Like, I look, because it was edgy, it was different. You have this, like, you have Otto Octavius knowing that he has to be a superhero, but at the same time, at the same time, he has to be better than Peter Parker was.
Yes, okay, I agree with you.
It was an interesting concept.
Do you want my buzzed off rant of Superior Spider-Man?
That's what the listeners want. I'm slurring my words. Yeah, that's what the listeners want. They want unhinged Brian.
Let me tell you.
Brian's bothers.
Let me tell you.
Let's do it.
Why Superior Spider-Man was like one of the best, worst comic book arcs of all time, all right?
That's the best worst.
The best worst arc. Because you literally killed off one of the best superheroes of all time in the worst possible way.
Yeah.
Like literally, okay, he got his there was a soul like mental transplant with a freaking like golden chip that was like ingrained to his neck or something.
It wasn't like a gold. It was like basically he had like a golden robot.
Yes.
That like transferred the consciousness
of Dr. Octavius into Peter Parker, and he doesn't realize it until like the end of issue 500.
That's the thing. Is like they never touched onto that.
No, they never did.
So we didn't find out until like what, like issue 669.
So hang on.
99 or something?
Yes. So then I had a memoriam, okay, of Peter Parker. I remember wearing a jersey a jersey of Spider-Man, okay? It was a sleeveless jersey of Spider-Man.
You freaking would have a jersey.
Yes, I would. And I went back when Uptown Whittier had Geeks. Before it was like around the time that Undercity was developing itself over here in Uptown Whittier.
Yeah, we didn't open during that time. We only had that one location.
I went to Geeks to go get Superior Spider. Yeah, I mean, look, Geeks died out. It was a great
for a reason.
Book store.
I'm just kidding.
No, yeah.
I'm sorry. I'm just kidding.
No, you're right. I'm not gonna say. Look, you're right. There's no denying it. Like you are. Right.
I mean, I will not confirm or deny that I heard bad things about Geeks.
So we'll leave it at that. But Superior Spider-Man comes out issue 1. I was there day 1 to pick it up, okay, with my Spider-Man jersey, and I was sad, and I started reading it, and I said, look, put this on my pull list. I need to read every issue, and I read every issue until like issue 7 or 8 when like Peter Parker comes out, and he's like, yes, there's like a small fragment of myself still ingrained in the brain.
Well, because the way that it was 700 you're talking about. It was, or was it what? Wait.
No,
what
it was
issue?
just like issue 7 or 8 of Superior Spider-Man.
Oh, Superior! I thought you were talking about
no,
the
Superior.
700 issue where they give you like a glimpse of hope that Peter Parker is gonna like switch back.
Yeah, it was this issue was like 7 or 8. I might be wrong.
Yeah,
but it was one of the early issues. It wasn't that far off. Where like Peter Parker comes out and he's like, yes, I can pull out of myself here, and Octavius realizes that he's fighting like Peter Parker's conscious.
Oh yeah.
You know, you realize.
You're right. Go on.
Yeah, and then all of that led up to like the Spider-Verse, and I felt like the Spider-Verse was well written to a point until they started killing off different Spider-Men from different universes. Yeah. And I'm like, this is Dan Slott's way.
It's just
of like trying to get rid of certain Spider-Men.
He's cleaning up.
Yeah, he's like, oh, I don't like this one and that one. Let's
the
get rid of
Japanese
this
Spider-Man, we'll get rid of that.
Yeah, it's like, oh my god, I have every issue.
I mean, honestly,
I have every issue at home in like a good state.
Does Dan Slott still write?
No,
for Marvel?
No, I think he quit. I think he
because he was
left.
writing. Yeah. Because from what I've heard, fact check really quick. Because I remember he was writing Fantastic Four. Excuse me. Dang.
We're
sorry,
feeling
guys.
it now.
I know. This is the Nerds Unhinged. Basically, because I remember there was so much talk that he was like, was it liked in the Marvel?
Because you killed off Spider-Man.
No, not that.
No,
it was because he wrote, because the thing is that whenever he tackled on a certain character, it wouldn't last. He wouldn't last. He would move on.
Because he liked killing off certain characters.
Liked to be, because he
was like, oh, I'm going to write off Fantastic Four. Let me kill off this person.
It was the shock factor of what he loved. It was like, oh yeah, Spider-Man, I'm going to kill off Peter Parker. And it was like, oh, Marvel loved that. It was like, oh yeah, you sold so many books because you killed off And then it was like,
that's why I bought it.
Tony Stark's Iron Man, and no one bought that because he was writing that.
But like, I think about it. That's why I bought Superior Spider-Man.
Well, because you love Spider-Man, and then when you hear
because when you hear that he dies, yes, of course I'm gonna buy into it.
It's gonna be like, yeah.
What do you want me to do? Do you want me to be like, oh, he's dead, I'm not gonna buy his books anymore?
Peter Parker's gone? No.
I mean, we did that with Batman. Oh, there's a new Batman in town, and like future whatever that the whole arc was.
Oh yeah, it was which one? The one with Jim Gordon's Batman?
No.
Oh, Future State?
Future State, but I still bought the Jim Gordon Batman.
That's true.
That. As soon as Jim Gordon,
he still writes for Marvel. No, he's gone. Wow, Marvel really wanted to phase him out.
No, I told you he literally left.
He doesn't write Fantastic Four right now.
No, it's because the problem with Dan Slott, and I think I kind of remember this because I was following his career for a while. It was that as soon as he was done with
I was
Superior
stalking
Spider-Man,
this dude.
because I was just like, listen, you wrote Spider Island.
Oh, that was his last issue?
You wrote Spider Island. I get that. Okay, like
Oh,
I
he left
understand
there
what
in
he was
that
doing.
time? Okay.
But like when you do things like Superior Spider-Man, it's like either it works or it doesn't.
Yeah.
And Superior Spider-Man worked for like 10 issues, and then afterwards you really had to stay committed to like watch everything or like read everything else.
That's true. I will admit to that. When I was reading Superior Spider-Man, I was basically waiting for Peter Parker to come back.
Yeah.
After issue 10, yeah.
Yes, I know because I lived through that.
Well,
Renee.
because I think I remember it was like around that time, issue 10, he like Spider-Man killed his first like villain.
Scorpion.
Yeah, it was Scorpion. He killed him.
And yeah,
He killed him.
I
And that was a
remember
big
reading that.
issue.
I remember reading that because my mind was literally like, why did you kill someone? Oh my God. I just didn't like it. I was just like,
Well, there was
why?
also a lot of things you didn't like about. There was also when they did Secret Wars, they did a Spider-Man Renew Your Vows. And I remember Bryan talking on his old podcast and just ranting about how much he hated that
because
first
it
issue.
made no sense.
No, it was
To
perfectly. I mean, I liked it. I'm sorry. Because I don't think I told you about this, but I actually liked the first issue of Spider-Man Renew Your Vows because okay, really
You're
quick.
the worst kind of being ever.
Okay, if you guys don't know, Spider-Man Renew Your Vows. Okay, it was a different universe if Mary Jane and Spider-Man basically kept going. If the relationship kept going, they got married. They got a kid.
Why do I care?
Because you like that relationship. Because you're a Spider-Man fan.
No, the whole point of Spider-Man
No, you
is
didn't
the
like
fact.
that.
No,
No.
is the fact that he could never land Mary Jane. That's the whole point.
Yeah.
The fact that any nerd lands their dream girl, all right, is super rare. It's super rare. Okay? And that's the point. So Renew Your Vows is like, well, what if the good ending happened? I don't care.
It was a good ending because what I liked about it is that it showed Spider-Man basically, he had a family, he has a daughter. And then I think what you didn't like about the first issue was that there was something happening, right? That needed Spider-Man's attending. And Peter Parker was like, "No, I have to think about my daughter." And he had a kid, and he was basically walking across the street with her and something like that.
I don't even remember the first issue.
You don't even...
No.
I remember that specifically because I have a good mind. And I remember you complaining about that. That was the main reason why you didn't like about Spider-Man
I think
Renew
I
Your
have
Vows.
the first issue at home. I got to look.
You got to reread that.
Okay.
Because I remember specifically is that in Tales of... Or it was either Casualties or Tales from the Soundboard. I don't remember what podcast you had. Was that it was basically what you didn't like was that the ending of the first issue was because you didn't like that Peter Parker didn't respect his responsibility. But then what I liked was that is because he finally tackled on a new responsibility, which was being a dad.
That's right. I remember now. Point being, to wrap this topic of a Spider-Man, is that there's a lot to mess around with. And I think that with the news that has come out now, it's very sensitive because like we are expecting a lot. But it could lead into many different paths. Yeah. Aaron Johnson is Kraven the Hunter. Is it connected to the MCU? Is it not? We don't know yet.
We won't know.
It's an interesting topic to think about.
I feel like we won't know exactly if it ties in until after No Way Home.
Exactly. Yeah. The villains that are announced for the Sinister, quote unquote, Sinister Six for this new movie that's coming out, we don't even know if that's a real thing. Yeah. But it's interesting to wait and see. I feel like Marvel is really taking its time to tease us and be like, look, we're going to dangle this little rope in front of you, and we're the cats that are trying to play with this rope at this point.
What is it?
What's going to happen? What's going to happen? Doesn't it come out later this year?
No, it comes out like in a year from now.
I think it does come out this year. It's supposed to come out this year, and it's like they're dangling the rope that it's like there's so much anticipation, and they're messing with the wrong people because if it's not...
They're messing up with keeping up with the nerds.
They're messing with
and
me.
One of them's a Spider-Man fan, guys.
They're messing with me because if this does not work out, oh my! Kevin Feige, you better expect a letter in front of your desk right now that's going to tell you.
Okay, so it gets this released December 17th, 2021.
Exactly. So Kevin Feige's going to expect a letter.
Wow, so the end of the year. Oh, my
Yeah.
God. Wow.
Yeah.
We're going to end the year with a Spider-Man movie.
Yeah. So there's a lot to think about in terms of Spider-Man.
I liked how we originally thought that this was Spider-Man talk was gonna be
technically
like 10-minute thing.
No, there's a lot.
We're already hitting our mark. Just to let you know.
Okay, let's go ahead and just talk about. No, yeah, we'll stretch it out, but now that we've gotten our nerd talk out of the way,
which took about 40 minutes. I like how. Again, this is like a normal episode of Keeping Up with the Nerds, was that it was basically us structure. But when an adult content came out, when adult beverage had a play in it, that went out the window.
No,
but if anything,
this is what we could be getting if we drink our adult beverages and talk about nerdy stuff. Because here's the thing, I hold back my passion on these issues with certain things. No, I do. When I am influenced,
I will say
in a
this:
certain direction.
Brian is a different person because this was proven last week when we went out to drink and we went to Guildhall. Shout out to Guildhall, guys! That basically was super nice to us and super cool and everything. Did you?
No, Guildhall is so great.
No, but did you
honestly.
spill?
A little bit.
You better clean that up.
I'm gonna. No, Guildhall is great.
Guildhall is awesome. That was the first time I went to Guildhall, and they're super nice to us, guys. Mm-hmm. If anything, shout out to Guildhall. Go there when you can because they have immaculate drinks. Yeah,
and there's a location in Burbank.
Yes, and another location. That's their headquarters or their first one, right?
Yeah.
Yes, really cool place. I loved that when we went there last week. When we went there last week, it was so much fun because
we were celebrating the end of year 0.
Really quick story before we move on is that when all three of us, Nick, Brian, and me, we were like, let's go to Guildhall and just hang out. Nick was the first one to go over there. Nick's still kind of like meh. Nick was the first one to go over there and and try to basically get us a table before closing. And then they told him no. And Nick was like, okay, fine. And he messaged us. Long and behold, when we got over there, me and Brian was like, hold on, give me a couple of minutes. So me and Nick were like, I don't know what he expects to accomplish after, it's like I was denied. And then Brian's fiance came up to us and basically was like, guys, come in. And Nick's like, what the F? Like, wait, I was denied. How did Brian get a table? Like, I just love that so much.
I'll put it this way. Yeah. It's not that I was looking to see if I can get a table myself. It was that I was apologizing that we were going in so late. Because usually they have a last call at a responsible time, which is fine. And then, 2 people left.
I mean, it's okay. We can talk about this, right?
No, it should be fine. Because, we were respectable and stuff. And I was apologizing to them. And I'm like, hey,
I'm
listen.
really bad, so I don't know. I don't know.
You're fine.
Right
we were telling them, hey, we're sorry. We didn't mean to cause any trouble and stuff. 2 people left literally 2 minutes before last call. And we got served, at the time that they said so, which was great. And that's why. It's not that I had connections or anything. I'll put it this way. Guildhall...
It felt like you did, though.
Guildhall is the type of bar. It is an esports bar, and it's the type of bar that makes you feel really comfortable. Yeah. It's the type of bar that, one, the service is super friendly. 2, the people are just fantastic that work there. Sean, Spencer, Cece, Andrew, all these different people. They're just freaking great.
And by the way, Sean is the best person.
Oh yeah, he served you the drinks that were.
He is so chill, guys. If you ever guys get Sean while you're at Guildhall, you're gonna get the best service ever.
Arleo, the bar master. Honestly, they were super great. And they seated us literally 2 minutes before last call, and we got our drinks and stuff, and we celebrated. And that was it. That was the story.
Was fun. It was actually really fun. It was
we just got lucky.
We got lucky, and it was needed as well too, because we've all been just dealing with stuff, and it was cool to just hang out old times before COVID, just to kind of hang out, have a good time with friends, and we got tacos after.
Exactly.
It was so cool.
So
Nick got a torta, and then Brian got a quesadilla.
The lengua.
Lingua. Oh, you got a lingua taco, didn't you?
Oh yeah, I freaking love lengua. Lingua's great.
Guys, comment down below if you like lingua tacos. If you don't know what that is, that's Why are you laughing?
No, let me put it this way.
Yeah.
So the reason why we're talking about this is because we celebrated the year zero.
Yeah.
And it ended with issue 49, and we're gonna get a little bit sentimental here. So I'm gonna apologize right now.
Don't make me
Renee.
cry. I have a buzz, man.
No, I know. That's why I'm like I might.
Yeah,
We're gonna spend the last couple of minutes talking about like what we have planned for year one and what we really want to do. Why we started this podcast, like pretty much like our stories and stuff like that. So we gave you guys the nerdy content before. It was like a 30-40 minute rant. We're gonna go into this and we're gonna spend some time talking about like what this podcast means to us and stuff like that. So we celebrated because for us, at least, you know, I'll speak for myself in this sense. When it comes to like a lot of the content that I write and that I try to produce ends up just kind of being successful for a bit, and then it just kind of ends up dying down.
Yeah.
Keeping Up with the Nerds is one of the first pieces of content that I've managed to produce with someone that I love so much for a full year successfully.
Yeah.
And it's just amazing to think about how that when it started, it's literally started over a conversation.
Yeah.
We started this about a year ago where we were just kind of talking about like, okay, well, you know what? We've each had our own podcast. We've each had our own ideas, and it doesn't usually end in a way that we wanted to end. It just kind of dies out and flattens out, and people end up leaving and stuff like that. And you know, we wanted to do something more. And at the time I was trying to make my own YouTube channel and kind of create my own content and stuff like that. And it really wasn't working out. It wasn't until I, you know, talked with Rene about like maybe 2 weeks, a year from now.
Yeah.
Or a year ago that we started talking about like, okay, well, what if you and I literally started making a podcast? You know, you were ending Nerded Down.
Yeah, Nerded Down. Yeah.
It was at its like...
It was kind of like at its stilts in a way.
Yeah. And I was kind of like bringing up Drinking Matters, which was my own podcast.
Yeah, which was like an interesting concept. I like that a lot.
But I felt like it wasn't attracting enough attention. So I'm like, okay, well, what if you and I made something together? Like, you know, you had the resources to do it.
Yeah.
2, you had like the passion and the interest to do it. So we're already talking outside over here.
Yeah, we have like just literally our conversations.
So why don't we just make a podcast for ourselves?
Yeah.
And
why don't we just record it? You know, that was the only difference.
And we tested it out with issue 0.
Yeah.
And we ended up liking it.
Yeah.
It was a really great concept we thought about. Just kind of like, you know, it wasn't supposed to be delivering nerdy news.
Yeah.
It was just kind of like, what if you and I just had a conversation?
Yeah.
And that's how it started out. And you know, we did this successfully for a year straight without missing an episode or an issue for a week.
Yeah.
You know, we were constantly going at it weekly. We released issues every week, and we were content to the point that we wanted to expand and grow. And about 6 months in, we were talking about like, okay, well, how else can we grow this brand and stuff like that?
Yeah.
And we started talking about like different solutions and stuff. We brought Nick along as a guest, and Nick was the one that opened our eyes and started.
Great addition to the show.
Yeah, exactly. It like we didn't even think that Nick was going to be an addition. You know, like we were just thinking about like how he could be a guest and stuff.
Yeah, it started out as a guest, and then when Nick, came on the show, he showed us like his range of knowledge that he knew, and it was something that we needed. And I think having him on the show and having him on as a partner as well too was the best addition that we've had as of growing.
Yeah,
you know.
So it's just I'm amazed at how much we've grown.
Yes,
amongst each other. I think that we started this out as like individuals that didn't think it was going to go anywhere. Yeah. Granted, we still have a lot to learn and a lot to grow into.
Yeah, we didn't know anything. We just went in and just basically let's just record our conversations.
And we did.
And I will say this, like, I've never had so much fun and so much time and growing with a partner like you, man.
No.
We started out as just people like just talking. You started out as just a customer and we knew each other. But honestly, I'm glad to have you as a friend. And I'll go as far as, honestly, man, you're like one of my best friends now.
It's
and this whole year shows that how much that we can create great content, but then also build a great friendship. And there's no other person that I would want to build a brand with.
No,
honestly,
yeah. This show didn't strengthen our bond.
Yeah,
I think it just kind of.
I think it did. Honestly,
okay.
We became closer, and I think both of us experiencing the same things, not only with podcasts, but then I'm sorry to mention this, but we also lost our parents as well too.
Yeah,
I lost my mom, and you lost your dad, and I think that made us stronger as friends. And I think because we both know and how we feel about that. And I'm gonna start crying because, like, honestly, man, like, I wouldn't ask for a better co-host and a better friend right now than you. You are
crap. I don't even talk about this.
I'm sorry, but dude, like, I am so happy I am building this brand with you, because no one else would have understand or know how I feel than you.
It's all right, I'm gonna try to hold back tears and stuff because it's like it's a lot to take in. But
Nick's a great addition because it was the best decision we've made together.
Yeah,
that he is helping us make our brand greater.
Let me put it to you this way. So, I mean, we're labeling this as year zero because like when we look at comic books and stuff like that, like every superhero has their beginnings and stuff like that. Like I think one of like your favorite superhero is Batman.
Yes.
And we talk about Batman Year One.
Yeah.
I think it's like one of personally for me one of the best storylines that Batman has ever been given.
Yeah.
It's his upcoming, his like beginnings and how he managed to become the hero that he is.
Yeah.
There's always a year zero, the test trial, the training, the things that they have to go through, right? And I think that that's what we're going through.
Yeah.
In terms of like how we started last year, there was a pandemic. There was the ideas, the conceptualizing, like all these different things. We had to think about what we were going to do.
Yeah.
And I think that in order for us to get started, we just press record.
Yeah.
And we just started to have a conversation about like, what was going on. We didn't know we didn't know how to head into this.
We didn't know where this was going to go.
We didn't.
Yeah.
And I think that it started out of passion.
Yeah.
We just simply had a conversation and we kept going. Then we had bigger ideas. And I'm glad to say that from where we started to where we are now, we've probably never have had, no, screw the probably. We've never have had an argument in terms of planning.
Yeah.
And I've never had that with another friend because, a lot of people that I've, talked to and all these other things, I've had best friends. I have best friends. Even if they listen to this, yes, I have best friends and stuff like that. But it's difficult because they all have their own life goals and their own agendas and stuff. Yeah, exactly.
Their own opinions and stuff.
And
like
that's
that.
perfectly fine. Yeah. No beef against them. I've never managed to share a goal with someone, and I think that we shared it together when we had that conversation last year that we wanted to produce something and we wanted to do something just for fun, but to also kind of like put our knowledge out there in the world.
Yeah.
And when we started recording this, I think that's what we wanted to do.
Yeah.
And you're right. I'm super glad that we started this.
Yeah. Me too. I don't regret it.
I don't regret it. It's a great outlet.
Yeah.
It's super great. I love to create things and I love to produce. I love to have new content just flowing in my brain. My brain is just an outlet of creative ideas.
Yeah.
And when we talk about things, it's never like, Rene, I want you to do this. And you're like, I don't like doing that.
It never feels like whenever you tell me something or I tell you something, it never feels like it's forced upon. It's always something that we both agree on.
Yeah.
And I think that's what makes this brand work is that you and I we've both established that what we want for this brand and what we want to do moving forward. And I'm sorry, I'm like really tearing up.
No, you're good. You're good.
And I think what I love is that working with you is that we both know what we want at the end of the day.
Because we have goals in mind.
Yeah.
And I think that we both respect each other's boundaries. I like, for me, I like to compare myself personally to the Game Grumps.
Mm-hmm.
And, when I think about that, it's like, you think about the story that went behind the development of that brand. it's not that it's similar to what we're trying to do, but it's like a friendship that developed over similarities and over likes and stuff like that, and how the chemistry built. We have a chemistry that honestly I could say can't be defined by anything that's out there.
Yeah.
We both respect each other's ideals. We both understand where we're coming from.
Yeah. I don't think there was ever a time where we both disagreed on an idea, because we both realized that what we wanted to do and what we wanted to produce, and I think we both understand, like, okay, because there was a time where we did the commentary tracks for Mandalorian.
Yeah.
But then even then we realized that wasn't really a good way to do it.
It wasn't, and I think that it's trial and error, and that we learn from it, and we understand each other's boundaries in that sense, and like, we'll propose ideas to each other, and we'll understand where we're coming from and stuff like that.
Yeah, and it was never like, oh yeah, because even then we still need to do the Let's Plays.
Exactly.
But it's something that we're like, okay, it's not an idea that we're gonna scrap.
Yeah.
We still want to finish that through.
I've always held this idea that a best friendship is always developed when someone doesn't try so hard to maintain a friendship.
Yeah.
It's always like, the friendship develops naturally.
Yeah.
You have to let it die out because it'll never die out.
Yeah.
And I think that's what we have. We never text each other every day. We don't message each other every day about little things.
Well, I'll send you TikToks.
Yeah, that's it.
But even then, I'm like, well, Brian will get. I'm like, I never like, have you seen this TikTok yet? Have you seen this? No, because I know that eventually you'll see it. Or even then, like you said, we don't text each other, we don't call each other, but it's always the day before.
Yeah.
Or it's always the day of we record.
We've always been there for each other in that sense.
Yeah.
And I think that's why that chemistry works for this. Like, forget the brand for a second. Forget Keeping Up with the Nerds.
Yeah.
Like, this works because naturally we are friends.
Yeah.
And so it works. And if we're going to bring in our other co-host, Nick, for a second, okay? Again, it's just the two of us because we wanted to make this annual issue.
This is a part 2 to let you guys know.
Yeah, this is an annual number 3 just because, we wanted to bring it to old school times. When we brought in Nick, it felt natural. It worked because
it never felt forced.
No.
It never felt like it wasn't just like me and you and then an extra person. When Nick came on to do, what was the first episode? It was the Snyder Cut. When Nick came on to do the show with us during the Snyder Cut review, it just felt like natural. It was very organic. It was basically like Keeping Up with the Nerds and then just having Nick here, and it's just he was already part of it in the first episode.
I'll tell you right now, I don't think I maybe told you this. I might have told you this outside of the podcast, but like Nick and I have always met each other in the most inconveniently convenient times. Like, I've ran into Nick when Adam West passed away and they held a memorial in the LA City Hall. Ran into him. Thousands of people were literally there, and somehow I ran into him. I ran into him again at Frankensons. Yeah. Out of the hundreds of people that were there, I ran into him, and I proposed the idea, come on the show. And same thing for me. Like when it came to Nick and I as well too, he record here with his podcast, The Waffle Press, and me. But like off when we were done recording, me and him would just have these like amazing conversations, these super funny ideas that me and him would just come up, and it was just like these super funny jokes. And then there was also a time where we were just coming up with content together with me and him a long time ago, and it just felt very organic. It just me and him basically, it was like we never talked. That's the thing, we never saw each other a lot, but that's the thing, when we me and him would meet up, it would just felt like basically like we were like already best friends during that time. Yeah, we would just talk, and we would just basically, it would just be very organic as well too. None of this is forced, and I think that's what's great about Keeping Up with the Nerds. Like, we never try hard to bring out content. Before we move on about our future plans and stuff like that, one, I'd like to thank our constant listeners for sticking with us and supporting us and stuff like that. Thank you guys. If it wasn't for you guys, like, we wouldn't have had the motivation. Like, our friendship is one motivational factor to do this, but like two, it's you guys that constantly listen and constantly let us know what it is that you like and don't like about our show. And we thank and love you guys for this, and we promise to keep doing bigger and better things for you guys. I actually have not a new listener, but a listener that came in this week and told me that he was not caught up, but like also he listens to our podcast. His name was Jaime Diaz, and he's a frequent customer here at the store, and he just told me that he basically was talking about, he was listening to our new anime episode,
which was last week.
Issue 49.
Issue 49, and he was like, he got to the part basically when we started talking about Dragon Ball Z and stuff like that. But just to have listeners, and just tell me, they come in at the store and be like, yeah, I checked out your podcast. It's super funny. Thank you guys. Jaime Diaz is one of them. What is it? Joe is one of them with his wife, Lilu. Eric is a constant listener of our show as well too. We love him as well too. Rebel is a constant listener as well too. And then your fiance,
Andy,
your beautiful fiance, is a constant listener as well too. Just to have at least I named off like 5 people that just listen to our show constantly. It's even a blessing 0 as well too.
Yeah, it's year 0. We have a lot planned. To wrap it up.
Yes.
Let's talk about.
Let's wrap it up. Yeah.
Let's talk about what we have planned.
Yeah.
I know we're in a little bit of a drunken state, but let's discuss.
But I think it's going to be interesting for our listeners.
It is. This is us unhinged. You're welcome.
This is unhinged, guys. So enjoy the show, but we're going to wrap it up. Go ahead, go for it.
There is a lot planned. I mean, there is talks about funding this brand, and we've been holding off on it specifically because we don't want to force that idea upon our listeners.
Yeah.
And just kind of letting it's like, hey, if you want this, no. We want to create the content because we love creating the content. We have new shows.
Shishimi.
We have new shows planned for you guys.
Yeah.
That we've been in talks about.
We have new content coming out soon.
Yes. If you have not followed us on our YouTube channel, please do so. There's tons planned for year 1. And we just talked about, pretty much what we're going to be doing for year 1. I'll put it this way. In June, we're going to be in talks about producing a new show. We're actually talked about it today.
Yeah.
About a new show that we want to do. And it's going to be a YouTube exclusive. So keep your eyes out for that. If you have not subscribed to our YouTube channel, go subscribe there.
Yeah.
There's tons more what we want to do with with our podcast in regards to issues and stuff like that. We're just trying to keep it as close to comic book lore as possible.
Yeah.
I think it's the best way to explain it.
We want to stay true to how we started this episode.
Mm-hmm.
And I was, okay, really quick. I'm sorry. Really quick. I don't think I've told you this. But remember our first few episodes we talked about DC leaving Diamond?
Yeah.
Marvel has announced they are leaving Diamond. Yeah.
I mean, it's not a surprise that DC left.
Well, it was something because remember it was talked about in our early issues that we were talking about how DC was leaving, and then it was going to set up maybe other different publishers would leave as well too. Mm-hmm. Marvel has announced they are leaving Diamond for sure, and they're going to go. They're going to go with the same distributing company that DC's coming out.
Yeah.
So that's interesting. I mean, I'm sorry, but
it's interesting, but it's not a surprise.
It's not a surprise.
Yeah.
So I just wanted to say that for our listeners that actually what we said was that that DC leaving was actually the precursor. I'm sorry, I can't talk.
The catalyst.
The catalyst. Thank you, Bryan. The catalyst of other publishers leaving and stuff like that.
To wrap it up.
Yes.
There's a lot of shows that we have planned for the YouTube channel. There's a lot of stuff we have planned for our podcast that you can listen to on Spotify, YouTube, Apple Podcasts, and Google Podcasts, wherever you listen to your podcasts.
Yeah.
With the addition of Nick, we're glad to have him on here. I cannot stress the fact that Nick has been a fantastic addition to the show. I will say this.
To
the brand.
Nick has shown why we wanted him to be on part of our brand. And he's doing a great job, guys.
It's not just because he provides the intelligence, stuff like that, but he's been one look, I'll put it this way. Life, I'm a firm believer of certain things.
Yeah.
When it comes to life stuff, I believe in number significance. I don't know, whatever that's called. There's certain numbers.
I'm just gonna agree with you, but okay.
Yeah. There's certain numbers that I don't deal with.
Yeah.
And the addition of Nick, if you want to relate it to that, came at the time that was appropriate. That made me think about how great it was to add him onto the show.
Yeah, it was something that we needed. Where me and Bryan discussed that we wanted our name and our brand to grow, and he was a necessary person that we needed to bring in.
Nick was not only an intellectual addition to the show; he's a great friend.
Definitely.
And I think amongst the three of us, we've developed a friendship that is probably, dare I say, unbreakable at this point.
Mm-hmm.
We're great. I love him to death. I love you, Rene, to death.
I love you too, Bryan.
And
I wouldn't want another co-host other than you.
I'm going to say this to wrap it up.
Yes.
I don't have a drink in my hand anymore. But
you want some Coke?
I'm good. No.
Just regular Coke?
I'll say it. I'll put it this way. I would never have thought to have built something like this. Give me that drink right there. I would never have thought that I would have built something like this a year ago.
Yeah.
I know it's small, it's minimal, but my gut tells me that it's going to be something big.
Oh, really quick.
Uh-huh.
Okay, so we'll do a question then. Just one question of what do you want for the brand? What do you want for the brand?
I don't want success. What I want is just, lasting friendship and I guess success in a way, but not success money-wise. It's success in hard work that we can be proud of.
I will say the same thing, and I will say basically what I would want is that for our brand to move forward is that I want a office for ourselves where we can just
maybe
record any content that we want.
Maybe a year or two for now.
Maybe a year or two. I will say 2 years from now. Yeah.
But to wrap up what I was saying, I'll let you say afterwards. I want Keeping Up with the Nerds to be something that we can be proud of.
Mm-hmm.
I wouldn't have thought or imagined building what we have now with anyone else because you guys, you and Nick have been here for me during times that I wouldn't have thought I would have been, during times that I thought I would have been alone. Yeah. And I love you guys. Let's keep this going. Let's keep this strong.
Yeah.
Let's keep the successes rolling. Its success is not represented by money. Mm-hmm. Success is represented by what we feel inside our hearts. Mm-hmm. It sounds like some Kingdom Hearts kind of crap. I don't care.
Yeah.
I love you guys. Let's keeping up with the nerds.
Keeping up with the nerds.
Strong into year one.
Definitely.
Here's to Keeping Up with the Nerds.
Keeping up with the nerds.
Going into year one strong.
Year one.
Let's build that content for our audience. Let's build that content for ourselves. Let's go strong, boys.
Let's do it.
Let's go. Drink up to Keeping Up with the Nerds.
Keeping up with the nerds. All right.
All right. So before Rene wraps up.
Yes.
Annual number 3.
Oh, man.
Just a reminder, guys, you can listen to our podcasts on YouTube, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Podbean, and Apple Podcasts. Anywhere you listen to your podcasts, follow us on there. Let us know if you're on Apple Podcasts. Please rate us. We do have a website where you can find us and all our content on there, keepingupwiththenerds.com. That is keepingupwiththenerds.com. We update that pretty much every week. Yes. We try to make sure that all our content is fresh on there. Mm-hmm. We're writing a couple articles so you can find us on there. All the stuff that we don't want to make videos on and stuff like that on our website. Follow us on there. Subscribe to our YouTube. Ring that notification button. Pretty much what anything that Nick says, do it on there. If you have not followed us, if you're new to our channel and stuff like that or new to the show, please listen to our back catalog. We're going to be starting fresh with issue 50. There's a couple changes. We'll let you guys know once we hit issue 50, but there's a lot to work on. But this wraps up year 0, guys. And for one last time, Rene, are you ready to wrap the show up?
I am.
Let's do it.
Thank you, citizens, for listening to this issue of Keeping Up with the Nerds Variety Hour. I am your host, Rene.
And this is Bryan.
And coming to you from 12920 Philadelphia Street, Whittier, California, recording at Undercity Comics. We thank you, citizens, once again, and hope to see you all next time.
Hey, sorry guys, I'm a little late. Did you guys? Why is there booze everywhere? Why is everybody crying?
Nick?
What the fuck?